Well, hello again. All right, now last week we talked all about Julie Brown's Dare to be Truthful, Medusa, Dare to be Truthful. Now, I thought it's a good companion piece to talk about the film that inspired it. We're, of course, talking about the iconic, trailblazing, never done before, Truth or Dare by Madonna.
Third party song.
Now, this was like a big freaking deal in the documentary world because up until then, no one had really gone as raw as Madonna had, pun intended, when it came to making a documentary film about like a concert, like a year in the life of, while she's doing the biggest concert tour of her life. And the Blonde Ambition tour, she spared no expense. This is this is Madonna doing her big one, all right? Like she was doing all the hits, and she had the biggest album in the world at this moment in time. Like, she was unstoppable. She was a force. This is back when Madonna ruled the world and the airwaves. So, she had just done Dick Tracy. She was about to go perform at the Oscars. Like, she had so much she was bouncing back and forth. She was dating fucking Warren Beatty, all right? Like, she had a lot going on. And in between that, she decided what some people would call very, very self-indulgently, she wanted to capture her whole year of her life in this documentary with her tour, the Blonde Ambition tour. So Truth or Dare came about. It was originally called In Bed with Madonna, but this title was going to be a no-go. Like, stations did not want to pick it up, so she changed the title to Truth or Dare, which actually comes into play later on in the film and is parodied by Julie Brown later on in the parody movie. So we're following Madonna in her life, and all the interstitials between everything is all shot in black and white. It's very soft focus, black and white documentary film, and you don't get color until it's the actual like concert footage. And this is like very, very good quality concert footage. Like, you're really in there. Like, you can see her sweat and everything, and you see these amazing like Gaultier outfits she had made for this tour, and like her hair being done, her makeup being done. And like, one thing I will say about this is like, this is kind of common practice now when it comes to celebrities, especially singers. Like, the concert film is such an overdone kind of concept. Like, we've seen it done amazingly, like Beyonce and Taylor Swift, but also it's like Ariana Grande, like all these people, they've done these movies now, like Lady Gaga's, I think it was like 5'5" or something like that. Like, they've all done these concert films where it's like a huge moment in their life they want to capture and make sure everyone's there to like see what it's like. What I like about Madonna is that this is like pre-social media. It's before everyone was recording themselves. And one thing I will appreciate is like, it's very refreshing to see how like unfiltered she is. And she doesn't come off the best in this movie. Like, she does not give off a very good impression of herself. But I kind of like that about her. Like, she's kind of a bitch and unforgiving and very much like set in her ways, and what she wants and what she says goes. And I really kind of like that about her. It's like, you don't necessarily see that with an artist, like especially with this kind of artifice, kind of like self-indulgent documentary piece. They're usually putting off like the best version of themselves, and how if they come off a certain way, they want to make sure it's emphasized. She does this because she cares. And it's about the art at the end of the day. Whereas Madonna, she knows she's making a creative statement, but like, she's not bending whatsoever. And like, people will tell her no, and she will bark back and yes. And I kind of like that. Like, it's very interesting to see. And also, she invites you into her messy ass life. Like, her messy love life is fully brought out, like all out in the open. And her just like talking shit, like shooting the shit backstage, like talking shit about her dancers, saying her dancers annoy her. Like, all this kind of stuff is caught on camera. It's like I said, like, she doesn't come off very likable at all. Like, if you're an outsider looking in, you gotta be like a big Madonna fan to really enjoy the character that she really is in real life. Cause like, it seems like if you were on tour with her, you probably were walking on pins and needles around her. And like, you had to definitely learn a certain way to talk to her and like go about like messing with her. So yeah, not to say there's not fun moments, but there's a lot more of her just like, geez, lady, take a chill pill. We open up and things are going wrong with the tour. Like, her sound is off. And this has been parodied in Dare to be Truthful, where the thing falls on top of her. This initially is where her sound check is going off. Like, her sound is terrible and she's pissed off about it, and like, everyone has to know. And like, you see her chew out the sound guy, like, why didn't this work? Like, we had a sound check. Why is it always like something going wrong in the same spot in the show? And like, knowing what I know about shows now, it's like microphones are finicky. Like, you could do a sound check till you're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, things are going to go wrong. You can't really control that. And you can tell like, she is frustrated. Like, she's a frustrated person. Like, she just wants things to be perfect. And she's bitching about how she wants to get back to the States because she knows the show is going to be mounted the way it's supposed to be, because she's overseas right now and she's doing it in a very like packed up way. She can't do it to like the extent to which she wants. So She's excited to go back to the States and put the show on the way it's meant to be seen in the big, gigantic, sprawling show that it is. And watching this now, when you watch the musical parts of this movie, you'll be shocked to see, like, it's kind of, like, not that impressive compared to, like, what you see in modern days, like, with, like, the floating stages and, like, the pyro and everything, like, modern day artists. But this is, like, a big fucking production for Madonna in this day. Like, she's got the full risers and all these dancers and all these costume changes and different concepts that come out for the stage. Like, this was a very big deal, and no other artist was really doing this. Like, other than Michael Jackson, no one was putting this much effort into, like, the showmanship of the performance. Like, this is really something that Madonna was really trailblazing with. Like, her and Michael Jackson were the only ones truly doing this, whereas others kind of just came out and performed. She wanted to make sure it was, like, an experience. And it kind of set the stage for a lot of pop stars to follow. Like, they got look at the blueprint for this and started to follow suit and started to think more about the packaging of how you're going to do this tour. And Madonna was very known for this. This is the very start of this, where it was like every Madonna concert tour that came through, there was some kind of major packaging that came with it. And some kind of like artifice and great like concept and all these facades she'd build around it. Like, there's a whole concept going on. Like, you're going into like a whole experience as opposed to like seeing her perform her greatest hits. So I do like that. And like you could tell it's like very much a raw early stage of what eventually become like her major tours and kind of set the stage for what she does now, even to this day. Now, we have to talk about her dancers. Like, her dancers are featured very prominently in this, and this was a very important thing to see back in the early 90s, because, again, like, a lot of people don't really remember it, but Madonna was very, very big in the gay community, and she made sure to feature that in this film. Like, they show her dancers going to, like, AIDS marches and stuff, because it was the height of the AIDS crisis still. Like, this is the early 90s, so all of her friends are dying, and she was even, for this album, putting in, like, information about AIDS in, like, the liner notes of her album, so you knew where to go. Like, she was giving out information if you bought her album. And she put in that work when it came to like talking about AIDS, especially in interviews where people were very often to shut it down and not talk about it. She made a point to like let people know that this is happening and people are dying.
What I think to be a big problem in the United States, and that's homophobia. I mean, there's a real big section in the movie devoted to that.
Yes,
and
you know that some people are going to find sections of it offensive.
Well, that's their problem, though.
You don't care?
No, of course not, because, see, these things exist in life. I'm only presenting life to people, you know. I am not presenting anything that probably they're not exposed to in everyday life, but maybe they don't want to deal with it. You know, if you keep putting something in somebody's face, eventually, maybe they can come to terms with it.
This is Madonna on a one-woman crusade to change the world, change people's attitudes?
Yeah.
And I love that she included that in this movie. And this is one of the very first times, and I remember watching this, like, growing up, it's the first time you really saw gay guys like this. Like, she has very camp, very flamboyant, very openly gay men parading around and being backup dancers, as well as one dancer in particular, two of which were fired and were featured later on in Julie Brown's movie. The one with the blonde hair, he actually was fired from this and would later pop up in Dare to Be Truthful, but he was the only straight dancer on the tour. And he later talked about in interviews how, like, he learned so much from this tour because he learned how to be less homophobic and be more open-minded. And to be a person in the dance world, like you see Madonna like chastise him a little bit, like telling him like, look, you're going to be around with gay men all the time in dancing. So you just better get used to it and learn how to like navigate this and leave your prejudices at the door. She's like, because you're at work now. And she kind of has this like mother hen kind of like thing about her. She's almost like dead mother. Like, she seems like a dead mother of a Girl Scout troop. A lot of times she talks to her dancers, like she talks down to them a little bit. Like, it's a little condescending watching it back in today's lens. But I guess like back then, that's I guess what she felt like she had to do. And I was looking like, how old was she when she made this? And she's like her early 30s, like 31, 32. So I guess like this is before she had her own kids and before she really buckled down and got serious with her marriages. Because, like, she's still back and forth. Like, she's still, like, just coming out of her 20s and being wild. And this is her at her peak wildest. Like, within a few years of this, she'd be releasing the sex book and Justify My Love would be coming out. Like, erotica hadn't happened yet. This is right before the cusp of it. Like, she's just about to go into it. Like, she's tiptoeing a little bit. Like, you see her do Like a Virgin. And it's just like, okay, we have to talk about this. Let's talk about this. Because I've seen this done so many times with like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, like a stripped up remix, like chopped and screwed kind of version of a classic song. I really don't like when artists do this, but it's such like a concert staple. And Madonna, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson were known for doing this kind of shit where it's just like, I just want to hear the song, but it's just like this high concept version of this classic song that everyone knows the words to. And it's just like, I don't know why, but this version, I don't like it. Like this version of Like a Virgin, I don't like it, but I can appreciate the aesthetics of it all. Like I love the hair, I love the outfit, I love the dances with the bullet bras, I love that. Just I'm not feeling this remix. But it's one of the things like a lot of artists would follow suit and do this a lot with their concerts after this point. But she's one of the first artists to really do that. Also, we have to talk about her and Warren Beatty. What a weird relationship they had. Like you can tell it's just like this old guy dating this young hot chick, and like he's not the guy for her. You can tell they probably just got together because they had just done a movie. They just did Dick Tracy together, and you can see like the ending of a relationship happening, and like she's completely raw and open with it. Like I was shocked they kept a lot of this shit in. Like they show her fighting with him on the phone and like hanging up and like bitching him, like chewing him out after the fact, and like the fact that he's kind of distant, despondent, and like you can see a lot of the love is dying there. That's like a relationship right at the end of its like lifespan, right?
The insanity of doing this all on a documentary.
Why should I stop here?
But does anyone say it?
And it's interesting to see them keep that in. And like she was not afraid to show that. Like you see her without makeup, you see her getting dressed, like she fully will flash the camera. Like she was not afraid. She was willing to go there. And she was showing you everything. Like there was a reason why this movie was so feared when it came out. It's one of those like big boogeyman that moms would always say, you're not allowed to watch that movie. They treated it like it was porn. And like watching it back, it is so tame to like a lot of the stuff you see nowadays. Like it's really, really tame. And not to mention, it's kind of a nothing burger of a documentary when you really like break it down. Like not a whole lot really happens in it. Like there's a few scenes where it's like, yeah, you see her like changing when she's like, you know, getting dressed to go see her father and she flashes the camera. There was that. And then I guess like the game of Truth or Dare they play at the table, which was parodied by Medusa with the watermelon, where they play Spin the Bottle. Like that's partly like one of the big major things. Like you saw two men kissing, which was a very big deal. But other than that, like not a whole lot happens in it. But it's really, really interesting to see like what her life was like at that time. This is like peak of her fame. Like she couldn't go anywhere. She was world famous. Like she got mobbed everywhere she went. And it's pre-social media where it's kind of like mundane kind of like day-to-day life traveling back and forth. It's sort of commonplace now, especially since we've seen so many films replicate what she did here. But this is like the blueprint. This is the blueprint documentary film. I'm not going to spoil too much of it for you, but you should definitely check it out. It's free on Tubi, so be sure and watch it there. And it's kind of like opens your eyes to like a different era. It's definitely a time capsule for the early 1990s pop stardom and what it was like to be that. And also it kind of gives you insight of like how complicated a person Madonna is.
I mean, it's a slice of life. I mean, you don't just see my life. You see you know, the dancers that I work with, you see, you know, little bits and pieces of their lives. You see, you know, I deal with a lot of topical issues.
And I caught a few strays in the last video, I've noticed. People must think I'm a Madonna hater. I love Madonna. I truly do. I think she is a very talented artist. And it's a shame what happened to her, especially when it comes to like radio play and everything. Like she's kind of blackballed from radio. Her career got derailed. So it's interesting to see what life was like for her when she was at the top of her game. And it seemed like nothing could touch her. Like she was fully untouchable. And yeah, just to think a few years from now, it only got wilder from there. Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, Truth or Dare, definitely check it out. This is one of those things, like I remember I had friends, my friend Dixie Cut back in the day at her house, she had the famous poster of this where she's topless with like the Marilyn Monroe hairstyle, like Truth or Dare, like the long, narrow poster. Oh my God, burned into my memory. And just like this was the costume, like when you see in Hocus Pocus, the mom is dressed like Madonna from Truth or Dare. Like it became a cultural reference with like the comb bra, the high ponytail with the braid wrap and everything, like the genie ponytail. Like this was the cultural blueprint for like the language of Madonna when it came to pop culture. So yeah, get into Truth or Dare. It is a classic. And like I said, it's worth checking out and worth diving into the complicated brain that is Madonna. This was actually so much fun to go back and revisit because I haven't seen this like since I was a teenager. So watching it again, it's like, damn, there's a lot of like really fascinating shit in this. But yeah, give it a shot. It's available for free online. And I'll see you all in the next one. All right, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, bye! Well, it's over now. Click my next YouTube video. Like, comment, and subscribe.